Beloved soul, pause for a moment and breathe, because what I am about to reveal is not ordinary. On April 23rd, heaven has tried to reach you multiple times today in ways you may not have noticed. And Archangel Michael says this could be the final attempt to get your attention. Please don't ignore this. This is not a coincidence. This is not random. And this is definitely not just another video appearing on your screen. Your signs. Subtle. Repeated. And you may have brushed them off. A sudden thought that felt too clear to be yours. A song that played at the exact moment your heart was heavy. A number went again and again. A strange interruption that delayed your plan. A feeling that someone unseen was watching over you. These were not accidents. Heaven has been whispering your name since morning. And according to Archangel Michael, today was marked long before you woke up. There was a moment earlier today when you felt something shift. It may have lasted only seconds. Maybe you felt a wave of emotion without knowing why. Maybe you stared into space and felt pulled somewhere deeper. That was not distraction. That was divine interruption. You see, when heaven tries once, it is mercy. When heaven tries twice, it is protection. But when heaven tries repeatedly in one single day, it is urgency. April 23rd carries a spiritual imprint for you. Not for everyone. For you. Archangel Michael stands as a warrior of divine truth and protection. He does not step forward without reason. He does not raise his voice without purpose. And today his message carries weight. There is something around you that requires discernment. Something subtle. Something hidden in plain sight. Earlier today, did you feel slightly uneasy in your own home? Did you sense that something was off but you could not explain it? Did you question someone's words but dismissed your intuition? That was the first attempt. Then came the second. A delay. A disruption. A small frustration that changed your direction. You thought it was inconvenience, but it was intervention. Archangel Michael says you were redirected. There is a conversation that almost happened today that was not meant to unfold. There is a decision you almost made that would have tied you to something draining your spirit slowly. Heaven interfered, and yet you kept moving, unaware. So a third sign was sent. A memory resurfaced. A warning from your past echoed quietly in your mind. A face appeared in your thoughts unexpectedly. That was not imagination. That was protection activating itself. Because something around you is wearing a mask. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a loud way. But in a subtle way that tests your perception. And here is where it becomes serious. Archangel Michael says if you ignore the spiritual nudges today, the consequences will not be immediate chaos, they will be slow confusion. Gradual exhaustion. Lingering doubt. The enemy of your destiny does not always attack with noise. Sometimes it distracts with normalcy. Look at today carefully. Who drained your energy? What situation felt forced? Where did your peace feel interrupted? Heaven marked those moments for you. You are more spiritually sensitive than you realize. That is why the signs were tailored so specifically. Others around you did not notice what you noticed. Others did not feel what you felt. What you did. And you almost ignored it. This is the final alert for today. Archangel Michael stands beside you as a guardian, sword of clarity in hand, not to frighten you but to awaken you. He says the battle is not external chaos. It is internal awareness. There is something shifting in your environment. Pay attention to patterns. Pay attention to repeated behaviors. Pay attention to how your body reacts around certain energies. Because heaven does not repeat messages without reason. April 23rd is a checkpoint. If you respond correctly, doors will line quickly in the coming days. If you brush this aside, confusion will multiply quietly. This is not about fear. It is about alignment. Close your eyes for a second and remember the strongest sign you experienced today. The one that felt different. The one you tried to rationalize away. That was the loudest whisper from heaven. Archangel Michael says your intuition is being sharpened. But sharpening requires friction. That is why today felt slightly intense beneath the surface. You are being trained to see beyond appearances. Someone near you is not fully transparent. The situation is not fully revealed. And your spirit caught it before your mind did. Do not override that knowing. There is protection around you right now. But protection works best when you cooperate with it. Before this day ends, you will notice one more confirmation. A small but undeniable confirmation. When it happens, do not dismiss it. That will be your sign that this message was truly meant for you. And understand this clearly. This is not random timing. You did not stumble here. You were guided here because the final attempt to get your attention had to be direct. Heaven has been patient all day, but now it speaks clearly. And Archangel Michael says, stand still tonight. Observe. Do not rush decisions. Do not share your plans too openly. Guard your peace carefully, because something is about to reveal itself soon and you must be ready to recognize it. This is only the beginning of what you need to understand. Chosen one, something deeper is unfolding beneath the surface of this day, and now the veil must be lifted a little further. When Archangel Michael speaks of April 23rd as a marked day, he is not speaking about a random calendar date. He is speaking about a spiritual appointment. There are moments in your life when heaven watches quietly, and there are moments when heaven intervenes boldly. Today was intervention. Earlier, you were told that multiple attempts were made to reach you. Now you must understand why the urgency increased. There is a cycle that has been repeating in your life. Not loudly, not dramatically, but consistently. A pattern involving trust, energy, and subtle disappointment. You give more than you receive. You sense more than you say. You notice more than you reveal. And because of this, certain individuals have grown comfortable underestimating your awareness. But heaven has not underestimated you. Archangel Michael has observed the silent battles you have fought internally. The moments you questioned your own discernment. The times you silenced your intuition just to maintain peace. And today, something reached a tipping point. There is someone around you whose words and intentions are not fully aligned. It is not about dramatic betrayal. It is about hidden influence. Energy that slowly weakens your clarity. Conversations that subtly plant doubt. Suggestions that sound harmless but redirect your path inch by inch. This is why heaven tried repeatedly today. Because you were about to normalize something that should not be normalized. You were about to accept a behavior that quietly dishonors your spirit. Archangel Michael says this is where many people miss their breakthrough. Not because they lack blessings, but because they ignore discernment. Think carefully. Over the past few days, has someone been unusually curious about your plans? Has someone subtly discouraged a decision that felt right to you? Has someone projected their fears onto your vision? These are not random interactions. April 23rd activated exposure in the spiritual realm. Not exposure for drama. Exposure for clarity. And here is what is powerful. The discomfort you felt today was not weakness. It was your spiritual senses sharpening. Archangel Michael stands as a protector of truth. His presence today was like a shield placed quietly around your mind. At sudden hesitation you felt before speaking. Protection. At last-minute change of heart. Protection. An inner voice saying, wait. Protection. You were not being paranoid. You were being alerted. Now listen carefully. The next few days will bring subtle tests. Small opportunities to either trust your discernment or ignore it again. The difference between elevation and delay will be decided in quiet moments, not public ones. Do not rush to confront anyone. This is not about confrontation. This is about observation. When truth reveals itself, it does not need force. Archangel Michael says remain calm. Watch patterns instead of words. Watch consistency instead of promises. Watch how people respond when you set boundaries. That will tell you everything. And let me speak directly to you for a moment. If this message is resonating in your spirit, if you can connect today's unusual events with what is being revealed now, then do not keep this light to yourself. Like this video so the message spreads to others who may also be missing their signs. Share it with someone who has felt spiritually unsettled today. Comment below what sign you noticed on April 23rd. When you engage, you create alignment. When you subscribe and become part of this growing community, you position yourself to receive future alerts without delay. There are messages you cannot afford to miss. Something is building. The reason this felt like a final attempt to get your attention is because the next phase will move quickly. Once exposure happens, it will not unfold slowly. It will click into place. And when it does, you will look back at this day and understand why the signs were persistent. Archangel Michael says you are stepping into a season where discernment becomes your greatest weapon. Not aggression. Not argument. Discernment. There is favor around you, but favor attracts observation. Not everyone who smiles celebrates you. Not everyone who listens supports you. Some listen to measured. Some smile to monitor. But do not become fearful. Become aware. Awareness is power when guided by heaven. You are not being isolated. You are being refined. And before this message ends, hold this truth firmly. Nothing sent to distract you will succeed if you stay aligned with the warning given today. There is peace available to you tonight, but it requires one decision. Trust what you felt. Something even more revealing is about to surface, and what comes next will connect dots you did not even realize were connected. Stay mentally present, because the unfolding will make everything clearer than ever. Faithful heart, lean in closely now, because what is about to be revealed is not surface-level understanding. It is spiritual confirmation. There is a reason today felt layered. A reason conversations carried double meanings. A reason your spirit felt alert even when your surroundings appeared calm. Archangel Michael says April 23rd was not only about warning you, it was about separating illusion from truth. You have been walking through a season where everything looked stable on the outside, yet something inside you felt unsettled. You tried to explain it logically. You told yourself you were overthinking. You convinced yourself to relax. But heaven kept interrupting your comfort. Why? Because comfort was slowly becoming compromise. Archangel Michael reveals that there is a subtle influence around your environment that feeds on your silence. It benefits when you doubt yourself. It thrives when you suppress your intuition. And it weakens the moment you become spiritually aware. Today, awareness was activated. There was a specific moment when you almost said something but held back. A moment when truth rose in your chest, but you swallowed it to avoid tension. That hesitation was not weakness. It was a battlefield. The war around you is not loud. It is strategic. The enemy of your progress does not want you destroyed. It wants you delayed. It wants you slightly misaligned. It wants you questioning your own clarity just enough to keep you from moving boldly. But here is the shift. Archangel Michael says the delay ends when you recognize the pattern. Think back to the last few months. Has there been recurring confusion around one specific person or situation? Has there been a repeated feeling that something is almost right but not fully right? That is not coincidence. That is spiritual friction. And friction produces fire. You are not meant to remain in gray areas. You are meant to walk in clarity. Yet clarity requires courage. April 23rd became the final alert because the pattern reached a critical point. Had you ignored the signs again, you would have stepped into a commitment, agreement, or emotional attachment that would cost you more energy than you realize. Archangel Michael stepped in. His presence today was not symbolic. It was protective. There were unseen conversations in the spiritual realm regarding your path. There were unseen blockages removed before they reached you. You may never know what was diverted, but heaven knows. And that is why this message carries urgency. You are entering a season of exposure. Exposure meant to shame. Exposure meant to free. What is hidden cannot remain hidden much longer. Masks cannot hold under divine light. Intentions will reveal themselves through actions. Words will begin to contradict behavior, and you will see clearly. But here is the test. When revelation comes, will you accept it? Many people pray for truth, yet resist it when it disrupts comfort. Archangel Michael says you must be ready to accept what is shown, even if it confirms what you hoped was untrue. There is strength in you that you have not fully stepped into yet. You have been cautious to avoid conflict. You have been gentle to maintain harmony. But harmony built on illusion is not peace. True peace requires alignment. Tonight, something in your spirit will feel different. A quiet boldness. A solid knowing. Do not suppress it. That is clarity settling in. And understand this deeply. You are not alone in this refinement. Heaven does not warn without support. Archangel Michael stands not only as a messenger, but as a defender. When you choose truth, protection increases. If you begin setting boundaries in the coming days, do not be surprised if certain energies react. Reaction reveals insecurity. Calm reveals integrity. Watch carefully. The next confirmation may come through a slip of the tongue, a contradiction in a story, a behavior that does not match words. When it happens, do not confront immediately. Simply observe. Let the pattern complete itself. Clarity will not require argument. Before we go further, seal this moment with intention. If your spirit recognizes this message as personal, if you felt the signs today and now understand their meaning, then respond with faith. Type "I receive divine clarity" in the comments if this is speaking directly to you. Lesson code 1444 has just been released over your discernment. And as this revelation settles in your heart, understand something powerful. This message is not just about you. There are others today who felt unusual tension, unusual nudges, unusual redirections, and they brushed them aside. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or even a PayPal seed placed through the link in the description, you are not funding a channel. You are sowing light into hidden places. Heaven declares, "The one who sows generously will reap generously," and that promise is alive right now over every obedient giver. As you release your seed, you release clarity into someone else's confusion. I am inviting you into this divine movement. When you act, you align with the very protection that reached for you today. This is not a donation. It is a prophetic response. Those who fuel the spreading of truth will never lack revelation in their own lives. Let your giving become your agreement with heaven's warning. Activate your obedience now. So, support, and watch the harvest of protection unfold. The unveiling has only begun, and what surfaces next will confirm everything you sensed. Steady your heart now, because what is unfolding is not random movement. It is divine positioning. After the clarity that began to settle within you, something subtle has already started to shift. You may not see it fully yet, but you can feel it. A slight emotional distance. A new awareness when certain words are spoken. A quiet pause before you respond. This is not coldness. This is discernment maturing. Archangel Michael is not only exposing what is misaligned, he is strengthening what is aligned. April 23rd with the awakening. What follows is adjustment. You are being repositioned spiritually. Conversations that once flowed easily may now feel measured. Invitations that once excited you may now feel unnecessary. This is not loss. This is refinement. There is a difference between connection and assignment. Some people were assigned to your life for a season, not a lifetime. But when seasons change, emotions resist what the Spirit already knows. Archangel Michael says you are outgrowing a dynamic that once felt comfortable. Not because you are better, not because they are worse, but because your awareness has increased. And awareness changes everything. You will begin to notice how certain individuals respond when you no longer overshare, when you no longer explain every plan, when you no longer seek validation for what heaven already confirmed. Watch carefully. Some will respect your growth. Others will attempt to pull you back into old patterns. Do not mistake familiarity for destiny. There is a reason heaven pressed so strongly to get your attention. A door is ahead of you, a significant one, but you cannot carry unnecessary weight into it. Archangel Michael reveals that distraction often disguises itself as loyalty. You felt responsible for maintaining certain bonds. You felt obligated to keep certain dynamics intact. Yet deep within, you sensed a balance. Today expose imbalance. And here's what many do not understand. Imbalance drains favor. When you continuously pour into spaces that do not pour back with sincerity, your spiritual energy weakens. Not immediately, not dramatically, but gradually. And heaven saw that happening. That is why intervention came repeatedly. You are being prepared for expansion. But expansion requires clean alignment. There is a conversation approaching in your near future. It will not be explosive. It will be revealing. Someone will say something casually that confirms everything your spirit has been sensing. When that moment arrives, resist the urge to defend yourself or over-explain. Silence will give you more information than reaction. Archangel Michael says wisdom in this season looks like restraint. You are not meant to fight battles. You are meant to observe them dissolving through truth. Something else is shifting as well. Your confidence. Out loud confidence. Quiet certainty. The kind that does not need applause. The kind that does not seek agreement. This is spiritual authority forming within you. April 23rd marked the day you stopped doubting your own discernment. From this point forward, your intuition will feel sharper. You will notice tone changes more clearly. You will sense hidden tension faster. This is not to make you suspicious. It is to make you protected. And here is something important. Not everyone around you has ill intent. Some are simply unaware. Some operate from insecurity. Some project because they fear losing relevance in your life. Discernment does not mean isolation. It means clarity and access. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian at the gate of your peace. But you must decide who receives entry. In the coming days, you may feel prompted to create small boundaries. Perhaps you respond less frequently. Perhaps you keep plans private. Perhaps you decline invitations that once felt automatic. Do not feel guilty for this shift. Guilt often appears when growth begins. You are not withdrawing. You are aligning. There is momentum building behind the scenes. Something you have been hoping for is closer than you realize. But its arrival requires focus. And focus cannot survive constant emotional noise. April 23rd was the alarm. Today is the adjustment. What comes next will be manifestation. Archangel Michael says trust the recalibration process. It may feel unfamiliar, but it is necessary. You are stepping into a version of yourself that does not tolerate subtle disrespect. A version that does not ignore red flags. A version that values peace over popularity. And as this new strength settles in, something unexpected will happen. The very individuals who underestimated your awareness will begin to sense your shift. Some will adjust their behavior. Some will distance themselves. Either outcome serves you, because alignment attracts alignment. Hold steady. There is more unfolding beneath the surface. The patterns will become clear. The confirmation will grow stronger. And what once felt confusing will soon feel obvious. You are not losing anything essential. You are shedding what cannot follow you where you are going. The refinement continues. Brave soul, what you are experiencing now is the quiet unfolding of truth, and truth does not rush. It reveals itself layer by layer. Since the awareness awakened within you, something has been rearranging internally. You may feel slightly detached, not from love but from illusion. Situations that once felt urgent now feel optional. Words that once carried weight now feel hollow. This is not numbness. This is clarity stabilizing. Archangel Michael is guiding you through a transition that requires emotional discipline. Because when truth begins to surface, the natural reaction is confrontation. But this season is not about confrontation. It is about confirmation. There is a difference. Confirmation allows patterns to expose themselves without your interference. And right now, patterns are speaking louder than people. Look carefully at the small inconsistencies. Not to judge. Not to accuse. Simply to understand. Notice how certain individuals respond when they are not in control of the narrative. Notice who becomes uncomfortable when you choose silence instead of explanation. Notice who subtly pressures you when you delay decisions. Pressure reveals motive. Archangel Michael says you were about to be drawn into something that required more from you than it was ever willing to return. It could have been emotional labor. It could have been misplaced loyalty. It could have been a partnership that looked promising but lacked spiritual harmony. Heaven saw the imbalance before you did. April 23rd was not dramatic because the threat was not dramatic. It was subtle. And subtle threats are the most dangerous because they blend into routine. You were slowly being conditioned to accept less clarity. Slowly being guided to lower your intuitive guard. Slowly being convinced that your inner warnings were exaggerations. But something inside you resisted. That resistance was divine protection. Archangel Michael reveals that your spirit has matured beyond certain environments. You cannot fit into spaces that require you to shrink. You cannot thrive in conversations that drain your light. You cannot expand while constantly explaining yourself. This realization may feel bittersweet. Growth often does. There is a grieving process when you outgrow dynamics, Even if those dynamics were imperfect, they were familiar, and familiarity feels safe. But heaven is not calling you to safe. Heaven is calling you to aligned. You may notice in the coming days that your dreams become clearer, your thoughts more decisive, your emotional reactions more measured. This is the fruit of awareness. Yet there will also be moments of testing. Someone may attempt to reestablish old patterns. Someone may test your boundary gently, as if to see whether your shift is temporary. Do not respond impulsively. Let your calm consistency communicate the change. Archangel Michael says the greatest demonstration of growth is quiet firmness. You do not need long explanations. You do not need dramatic declarations. You only need alignment between what you sense and what you choose. There is also a blessing forming beneath this refinement. Because as misalignment separates, space is created. Space for new connections. Space for clearer opportunities. Space for divine acceleration. You have been praying for movement. But movement requires release. And sometimes release begins with awareness. April 23rd initiated the release. What you felt that day was the spiritual equivalent of a door unlocking behind the scenes. You did not see it open yet, but the lock hath been disengaged. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of that doorway. He ensures that what enters next will not carry hidden agendas. He ensures that what approaches will resonate with your discernment instead of challenging it. Trust the timing. You are not behind. You are being prepared. There may also be a moment soon when you are tempted to question whether you overanalyze the signs. That doubt is natural. But remember the pattern, not the emotion. Patterns do not lie. If something repeatedly created subtle tension in your spirit, it was not imagination. Your discernment is a gift, and gifts must be honored. The shift you are experiencing is internal strength forming. You are becoming less reactive and more observant, less eager to please and more committed to peace. This transformation will not only protect you, it will elevate you. Because when you no longer entertain confusion, clarity rushes in. Stay steady now. What is being revealed is only the first layer. There's deeper confirmation ahead. Conversations will align with your intuition. Situations will clarify without force. And you will realize that heaven's repeated attempts on April 23rd were not warnings of danger. They were invitations to maturity. The refinement continues, and with it, your authority grows. Precious one, the atmosphere around you is shifting again, and this time it is not just internal. It is beginning to manifest externally. Since the awakening of April 23rd, you have been moving differently, even if no one has said it out loud. Your responses are more measured. Your availability is more selective. Your silence carries more weight. This is not accidental. This is spiritual authority forming through awareness. Archangel Michael wants you to understand something clearly right now. When you change internally, the spiritual realm responds immediately, but the physical realm takes a moment to catch up. That space in between can feel strange. You may sense tension without visible conflict. You may notice distance without explanation. You may feel watched, evaluated, or subtly tested. Do not let that unsettle you. What is happening is exposure through contrast. When light increases, shadows become easier to see. Not because darkness grew stronger, but because illumination intensified. There is someone who has begun to notice your shift. They may not fully understand it, but they feel it. The dynamic they were accustomed to is no longer operating the same way. And because of that, they may attempt to pull you back into familiar patterns. Pay attention to the tone of future conversations. Notice subtle guilt attempts. Notice if humor is used to minimize your boundaries. Notice if you are suddenly described as different in a way that feels slightly critical. This is not about paranoia. This is about perception. Archangel Michael says that growth often makes others uncomfortable, especially when your growth disrupts access they once took for granted. But do not shrink to restore comfort. Here is also something else unfolding. An opportunity. It may not appear dramatic at first. It may look like a simple invitation, a new idea, or a subtle redirection. But it will carry peace, not pressure. It will feel expansive, not draining. This is how you will recognize alignment. On April 23rd, heaven blocked what would have drained you so that something lighter could approach. But lighter does not always mean easier. It means cleaner. You are entering a phase where quality matters more than quantity. Depth matters more than attention. Authenticity matters more than approval. This is maturity. Archangel Michael is refining your discernment so that when new doors open, you do not rush through them blindly. You pause. You sense. You evaluate energy, not just opportunity. There may also be a moment soon where truth surfaces in an indirect way. You might overhear something. You might discover information casually. You might observe behavior when someone thinks you are not paying attention. When that happens, remain composed. You are not meant to react emotionally. You are meant to gather clarity. Clarity is your weapon in this season. And now let me speak directly to you as part of this growing spiritual family. If this message is aligning with what you are experiencing, if you can feel the shift in your own life matching these words, then engage with it. Like this message so that others who are in the same hidden battle can find it. Share it with someone who has felt spiritual tension recently. Write in the comments what changes you have noticed within yourself since April 23rd. And make sure you are subscribed and connected here, because these messages are not random uploads. They are timely alerts. You do not want to miss what unfolds next. What is coming will connect even deeper, and you will thank yourself for staying aligned. Now understand this. Not everyone will walk with you into your next level. Some will quietly fall away. Some will reveal themselves through their inability to celebrate your growth. That is not rejection. That is redirection. Archangel Michael stands firmly beside you as a guardian of transition. He does not remove people from your life without purpose. He does not expose patterns without promise. Something better is forming behind the scenes. You may feel moments of loneliness during this shift, but it is temporary. You are being repositioned among those who match your discernment, not challenge it. The discomfort you felt on April 23rd was the beginning of awakening. The subtle tensions now are the adjustment. What is ahead is confirmation. And when confirmation arrives, it will not confuse you. It will validate everything you sensed. Stay steady. Do not over-explain yourself. Do not rush to restore old dynamics. Let your consistency speak. The unfolding is not finished. There is still one more layer of revelation approaching, and when it surfaces, it will make the urgency of that day fully understandable. Remain alert. Remain calm. Remain aligned. Steadfast spirit. What is happening now is the crossing of an invisible line. You may not see a dramatic event. You may not hear a loud announcement. But internally and spiritually, a boundary has been drawn. Since April 23rd, you have not been the same. The awareness that awakened in you did not fade the next morning. It remained. It sharpened. It matured. And now, you are beginning to see the difference between who you were and who you are becoming. Archangel Michael says this is the moment where discernment turns into decision. Up until now, you have been observing, watching patterns, noticing tone shifts, sensing inconsistency. But soon, there will be a quiet choice placed before you. Not dramatic, not forced, but clear. It may look like declining something you once would have accepted. It may look like delaying a commitment. It may look like withholding information you would normally share freely. That choice will not be random. It will be the evidence that you listened to heaven's warning. And here is the deeper truth. The final attempt to get your attention on April 23rd was not about fear. It was about preparation. There is elevation connected to your obedience. Something significant is approaching your life. A new responsibility, a new connection, a new level of visibility or influence. And elevation requires clean surroundings. It requires trust in your own spiritual senses. Archangel Michael reveals that if you had ignored the signs that day, you would have carried hidden confusion into a new season. And confusion in a higher season creates heavier consequences. Having prevented that, you may begin to notice that conversations are becoming more transparent. Not because others changed overnight, but because you changed. Your questions are sharper. Your listening is deeper. Your silence is more intentional. People reveal themselves when they are not rushed. There is also a subtle restoration happening within you. The self-doubt that lingered quietly is losing its voice. The habit of second-guessing your intuition is weakening. You are no longer as quick to dismiss your inner alarms. That is growth. Archangel Michael says your discernment is a gift that was underused for too long. Not because you lacked intelligence, but because you valued harmony over confrontation. Now you understand that discernment does not create conflict. It prevents it. In the coming days, there may be a defining moment. A sentence spoken that confirms everything. A reaction that exposes motive. A delay that reveals intention. When it happens, you will not feel shock. You will feel recognition. Recognition is the reward of awareness. Do not rush to explain your shift to anyone. Not everyone deserves access to your process. Some will try to analyze you. Some will try to test whether your boundaries are temporary. Remain steady. Consistency communicates transformation more loudly than speeches. Archangel Michael stands as a witness to your evolution. He sees the courage it takes to outgrow subtle manipulation. He sees the discipline it takes to remain silent when you could easily confront. He sees the restraint it takes to choose peace over proving a point. This is strength. And something else is happening beneath the surface. Opportunities that were once delayed are starting to align. You may not see full manifestation yet, but momentum is building. Doors that felt stuck are loosening. Conversations that seemed stagnant are gaining movement. Why? Because you remove energetic interference. April 23rd was the day interference was identified. What you do now determines how quickly acceleration follows. There is no need to fear exposure. Truth will reveal itself in a way that protects your dignity. Archangel Michael ensures that when masks fall, they do so without dragging you into chaos. Your role is simple. Remain observant. Remain grounded. Remain aligned. The peace you are beginning to feel is not temporary. It is the result of clarity settling into your foundation. Even if tension appears briefly, it will not shake you like it once did. You are stronger now. And soon, you will look back at that day and realize it was not merely a warning. It was a turning point. A spiritual checkpoint that shifted your trajectory quietly but permanently. Hold your position. Do not regress into old patterns for temporary comfort. Do not offer explanations where silence is wiser. Do not doubt what has already been confirmed within you. The unfolding is reaching a deeper layer. What comes next will not only validate your discernment, it will reward it. Stay attentive. The revelation is approaching its peak. Awakened one, the atmosphere has reached a tipping point, and what once felt hidden is now pressing toward the surface. You may have sensed it building over the last few days, a quiet tension, a subtle anticipation, as if something is about to be clarified without you needing to force it. That feeling is not imagination. It is the sound of truth approaching visibility. Archangel Michael says this is the stage where exposure becomes inevitable. Not explosive exposure, not dramatic confrontation, but undeniable realization. There is a difference between suspecting and knowing. Until now, you have suspected. You have observed patterns. You have felt inconsistencies. You have paused when something did not align. But soon you will know. It may arrive through a small slip in conversation, a contradiction between past and present words, a behavior that no longer hides behind charm. When it happens, your spirit will not panic. It will settle, because confirmation brings peace. April 23rd was the final attempt to get your attention, because the next phase required you to be awake. Had you remained unaware, you might have reacted emotionally when truth surfaced. But now, you are grounded. Now you are steady. Archangel Michael reveals that what is being exposed is not only about another person. It is also about you seeing your own strength clearly. You are realizing how much you tolerated in the name of peace. You are recognizing how often you minimized your intuition to protect relationships. That season is over. There is power in this moment because you are not angry. You are aware. Awareness without anger is authority. Watch how things unfold naturally. Someone may overplay their hand. Someone may reveal insecurity disguised as humor. Someone may try to regain control subtly. But their urgency will expose what their calm once concealed. And here is the deeper revelation. You were never meant to carry this dynamic into your next chapter. Archangel Michael says the elevation ahead of you requires cleaner connections. You are stepping into a space where clarity will be your standard, not confusion. There may be a conversation that shifts everything. Not because of confrontation, but because of tone. A tone that reveals truth more than words ever could. When you hear it, trust yourself. Do not gaslight your own perception. For too long, you gave others the benefit of the doubt while denying your own instincts the same courtesy. That imbalance is corrected now. You will also notice something else. Your peace is returning. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer internally divided. When intuition and action align, peace follows. Archangel Michael stands firmly in this transition. His presence is not aggressive. It is protective. He is guarding the threshold between your old patterns and your new standards. There is a reason this message has unfolded gradually. Sudden revelation can overwhelm, but progressive clarity builds confidence. And now, confidence is forming. You may even feel gratitude for the warning of April 23rd. Gratitude that you were not blindsided. Gratitude that you were prepared. Gratitude that heaven refused to let you drift into quiet misalignment. This is grace. Something significant will shift soon. Perhaps a distance that feels natural. Perhaps a truth that surfaces effortlessly. Perhaps a door that opens as another quietly closes. Do not resist the exchange. What leaves creates room. What reveals creates freedom. Before we move deeper into what this shift unlocks for your future, seal this moment spiritually. If you recognize the confirmation unfolding in your life, if you have seen patterns expose themselves since April 23rd, then declare it boldly. Type "I walk in truth" in the comments right now. Blessing code 8181 is being activated over your clarity and protection. And as you stand in this awareness, understand that this message is reaching hearts beyond yours. There are others who sense something shifting but lack the confirmation to trust it. When you release a super thanks, when you join as a member, or when you sow through the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a platform. You are lighting torches in dark corridors. The word declares that when you sow beside many waters, your harvest will not fail, and that promise is breathing over you even now. I am calling you into this moment of obedience. Let your giving become your agreement with the clarity heaven has released. What you plant in faith today will rise as protection tomorrow. Those who fuel the spreading of truth will never lack revelation in their own journey. Do not hesitate. Activate your seed. Strengthen this mission. Release your support and watch how heaven multiplies what you place in its hands. The unveiling is nearly complete. What comes next will not only confirm the past, it will accelerate your future. Courageous one, now that truth has begun surfacing, you are standing at the edge of transformation. Not the kind that announces itself loudly, but the kind that permanently alters how you move, speak, and decide. Since the exposure began unfolding, something inside you feels lighter. Even if certain realizations were disappointing, they were clarifying. And clarity, even when uncomfortable, is freeing. Archangel Michael says this is the reward of paying attention on April 23rd. You were not caught off guard. You were not emotionally ambushed. You were prepared. Preparation changes outcomes. What you are experiencing now is the stabilization of your new standard. You are no longer negotiating with your intuition. You are no longer explaining away subtle red flags. You are no longer sacrificing inner peace to maintain outer harmony. That is growth. There may have already been a defining confirmation, something small but undeniable. Perhaps a sentence that exposed inconsistency. Perhaps a reaction that revealed insecurity. Perhaps a withdrawal that showed true intention. And instead of reacting impulsively, you observe. That observation protected you. Archangel Michael reveals that when exposure happens calmly, it gives you power. Chaos only benefits confusion, but composure benefits clarity. You may also notice that certain individuals are adjusting their behavior around you. Some may become more careful with their words. Some may test your boundaries subtly. Some may distance themselves without explanation. Do not chase what withdraws. When misalignment leaves on its own, let it. There is something sacred about this moment because you are witnessing the consequences of discernment. You listened. You paid attention. You resisted the urge to ignore your inner voice. And now, you stand steady instead of shaken. This stability is preparing you for acceleration. Archangel Michael says that what is ahead requires confidence. Not arrogance, not dominance, but quiet certainty, the kind that does not need validation because it has already been confirmed internally. There is a door opening soon. It may relate to opportunity, connection, or responsibility. And this time, when you sense alignment, you will not hesitate in confusion. You will evaluate with clarity. This is the difference between the old you and the emerging you. The old version might have overanalyzed, might have doubted intuition, might have sought reassurance from the very people whose alignment was questionable. But now, you consult your spirit first. April 23rd was not just a warning. It was a recalibration of authority within you. You are no longer easily influenced by tone alone. You look at consistency. You measure energy. You observe patterns across time, not moments. That wisdom will protect you in the coming season. There may also be a surprising realization approaching, not about others, but about yourself. You may recognize how strong you have become, how much emotional discipline you now carry, how differently you respond compared to even a few months ago. That recognition will bring confidence. Archangel Michael stands as a witness to this growth. He did not intervene to isolate you. He intervened to refine you. The repeated attempts to get your attention were acts of preservation. Imagine where you would be if you ignored the nudges, if you dismissed the unease, if you normalized subtle balance. You would be navigating confusion right now instead of clarity. Heaven redirected you before entanglement deepened. And now, something remarkable is happening. The very situation that once felt uncertain is becoming irrelevant. Not because it exploded, but because your elevation outgrew it. That is power. You are stepping into a chapter where peace is your filter. If something disrupts your peace consistently, it will no longer have access to you. This boundary is not bitterness. It is maturity. In the days ahead, remain steady. Do not boast about your clarity. Do not announce your growth. Simply live it. People will notice. Some will respect it. Some will resent it. Either reaction confirms your transformation. Archangel Michael says remain humble but firm, compassionate but discerning, open-hearted but not unguarded. The revelation cycle that began on April 23rd is closing. What began as subtle whispers has turned into solid understanding, and understanding creates momentum. You are ready for what is coming next. The shift is no longer hidden, it is active, and what unfolds from here will carry the unmistakable mark of alignment. Stay grounded, stay observant, stay aligned. The next movement will not be about exposure. It will be about expansion. Anchored soul, what you are stepping into now is not simply the aftermath of exposure. It is the beginning of expansion. Everything that unfolded since April 23rd was not only about removing misalignment. It was about preparing space. Space in your mind. Space in your spirit. Space in your environment. And now that space exists, something new can enter without interference. Archangel Michael says expansion feels different from revelation. Revelation clarifies. Expansion stretches. You may begin to feel a pull toward something greater. A new idea forming quietly. A vision that feels bolder than before. A desire to move differently, speak differently, even position yourself differently. You not ignore that pull. Before, subtle confusion may have kept you hesitant. You were carrying invisible weight. But now that weight has been identified and released, momentum can build without resistance. There is a decision approaching that will test your growth. Not in a negative way, in a confirming way. You will be presented with an auction that mirrors a past pattern. The difference is that this time, you will see it clearly from the beginning. Archangel Michael says this moment will prove how far you have come. Where you once would have rushed, you will pause. Where you once would have explained yourself excessively, you will speak simply. Where you once would have doubted your instinct, you will trust it. This is authority restored. And understand this deeply. Expansion does not always mean more people. Sometimes it means fewer but better. Sometimes it means quieter but stronger. Sometimes it means unseen but deeply rooted. Your next level is not about noise. It is about substance. There is also a new alignment forming, someone or something that resonates with your clarity instead of challenging it. You may not fully recognize it at first because you are still adjusting to your higher standard, but it will feel peaceful, not intense, not overwhelming, just aligned. Peace is your confirmation now. Archangel Michael reveals that the reason heaven was urgent on April 23rd is because delay would have cost you timing. And timing matters in this season. You are not meant to arrive late to what is prepared for you. You are meant to arrive clean. Clean of confusion. Clean of subtle emotional entanglements. Clean of divided intuition. That cleanliness is what makes expansion sustainable. There may also be a temptation to revisit what was exposed, to reanalyze it, to reopen conversations for closure. Resist that urge unless truly necessary. Closure already came through clarity. You do not need to relive misalignment to prove your growth. Growth is proven by forward movement. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold of your expansion, not with a sword drawn for battle, but with a shield lifted in protection. What enters this next chapter will not carry the same hidden weight as before, but your participation matters. Continue guarding your peace. Continue observing patterns. Continue responding with maturity instead of impulse. These habits are building a foundation for longevity. And now, as this message reaches deeper into your understanding, let it reach others as well. If you have felt the shift from exposure to expansion in your own life, make that known. Like this message so it travels further. Share it with someone who is standing at their own crossroads. Write in the comments what new vision or opportunity you feel forming. And ensure you are subscribed and fully connected here, because what unfolds next will speak directly to those who have walked through this entire journey. You do not want to miss the final confirmation that ties everything together. The expansion ahead will not be chaotic. It will be structured, strategic, intentional. You are no longer operating from reaction. You are operating from revelation, and revelation gives you leverage. In the coming days, watch how smoothly certain things begin to align. Watch how opportunities appear without strain. Watch how conversations feel lighter because you are not carrying unspoken tension anymore. This is the reward of discernment. April 23rd was a divine interruption. Today is divine momentum. Stay alert. Stay disciplined. Stay grateful. Because the final layer of this unfolding is approaching, and when it arrives, you will fully understand why heaven refused to let you ignore the signs. Resolute heart, you are now standing in the evidence of everything that was spoken over you. The urgency of April 23rd no longer feels mysterious. It feels intentional. What once seemed like repeated interruptions now appears as precise protection. What once felt like discomfort now feels like divine alignment. Archangel Michael says this is the stage where gratitude replaces confusion. Look at how differently you are responding to situations now. There is less emotional turbulence, less overthinking, less internal debate. When something feels misaligned, you recognize it quickly. When something feels peaceful, you lean into it without suspicion. This is what maturity looks like. You are no longer chasing clarity. You are operating from it. There may have been a final confirming moment recently, something subtle but definitive. Perhaps someone's true posture became undeniable. Perhaps distance formed naturally without conflict. Perhaps an opportunity opened that clearly did not include what was once draining you. But with the closing of a cycle, Archangel Michael reveals that cycles do not close loudly when handled with discernment. They close cleanly. And because you listened when heaven pressed for your attention, you avoided unnecessary damage. You avoided emotional entanglement. You avoided confusion that could have followed you into your next chapter. Now you stand lighter. There is a new confidence in your silence, a new strength in your calm. You are no longer easily pulled into explanations. You are no longer triggered by subtle manipulation. You observe and decide. This shift will shape every area of your life moving forward. Relationships will be chosen more carefully. Opportunity will be evaluated more deeply. Words will be measured before being shared. Not from fear, from wisdom. Archangel Michael stands not as a warrior in battle now, but as a guardian of your expansion. The war was never dramatic. It was internal, between doubt and discernment. And discernment has won. You may even notice that certain people treat you differently now. There is a respect that was not there before, a carefulness in tone, a recognition that you are not as easily influenced as you once were. That recognition changes dynamics. And here is the powerful truth. You did not have to fight for this transformation. You only had to listen. April 23rd was the final attempt to get your attention, because your next season demanded awareness. Had you ignored it, you would still be negotiating with confusion. Instead, you are negotiating with opportunity. There is something forming ahead that requires clear vision. It may involve leadership. It may involve stepping into a visible role. It may involve making a bold decision that sets a new standard for your life. And now, you are ready. The hesitation that once slowed you is gone. The fear of misjudging people has softened. You trust your perception. Archangel Michael says this trust is sacred. Guard it. Do not let anyone convince you to second-guess what has already been confirmed. There may still be small tests, but they will not shake you. They will simply reinforce how far you have come. The most beautiful part of this transformation is that it happened quietly. And no dramatic exits. No public announcements. Just internal elevation. And elevation changes everything. Soon, you will look around and realize that your environment feels different. Lighter. More intentional. More aligned. That is not coincidence. That is the fruit of discernment. You are not the same person who woke up on April 23rd unaware of the spiritual tension surrounding you. You are sharper now. Steadier. More self-assured. And this is only the foundation. The final layer of this message will not be about warning or exposure. It will be about commissioning. Because once protection has done its work, purpose takes center stage. Stay grounded in gratitude. Stay anchored in clarity. The story that began with urgency is ending with authority. And what comes next will seal everything you have walked through with undeniable confirmation. Victorious one. This is the sealing of the message. What began on April 23rd as repeated nudges, subtle interruptions, and quiet warnings has now revealed its full purpose. It was never about fear. It was never about drama. It was about awakening you before elevation. Archangel Michael says you have crossed the threshold. You are no longer the person who ignores intuition for the sake of comfort. You are no longer the person who tolerates subtle misalignment just to maintain temporary peace. You are no longer easily distracted by tone, charm, or pressure. You are anchored in discernment. Look back for a moment. The unusual signs. The inner tension. The repeated attempts heaven made to get your attention. At the time, it felt excessive. Now, it feels merciful. If those attempts had not been persistent, you might have stepped into something that would have drained your momentum. You might have carried hidden confusion into a season that demands clarity. You might have delayed your own expansion. But you listened. Even if you did not understand everything immediately, you paused. You observed. You paid attention. And that obedience shifted your trajectory. Archangel Michael reveals that protection is often invisible until hindsight makes it obvious. There were conversations you avoided without realizing why. Decisions you postponed without knowing what you were being saved from. Alignments that quietly dissolved before entanglement deepened. That was divine strategy. Now you stand in a new position, not defensive, not suspicious, but prepared. Prepared for opportunities that require wisdom. Prepared for relationships that require equality. Prepared for responsibilities that require confidence. The urgency of April 23rd was the final attempt because your next level could not tolerate distraction. Your calling cannot thrive in confusion. Your purpose cannot expand in divided environments. And now, you are ready. There is a commissioning happening in the spirit over you. A quiet assignment. You are being trusted with more. More influence. More insight. More authority over your own path. But with authority comes discipline. Guard your peace fiercely. Protect your clarity intentionally. Do not reopen doors that heaven closed gently. Do not revisit dynamics that clarity already resolved. The future unfolding before you will move faster than the season you just left. Decisions will carry greater impact. Opportunities will require quicker discernment. And because you responded when heaven called, you will not be overwhelmed. Archangel Michael stands not only as your protector, but as your witness. Witness to your growth. Witness to your obedience. Witness to your transformation. There will be moments ahead when you remember this message and realize how precisely timed it was. When new doors open cleanly. When aligned connections feel effortless. When peace becomes your constant companion instead of a rare visitor. That is the fruit of discernment honored. Before this message closes, seal it with faith. Type "I step into my next level" in the comments if you receive this commissioning. Blessing code 2024 is now activated over your expansion, clarity, and divine timing. And as you step into this next level, understand something sacred. This message did not reach you by accident, and it will not stop with you. There are countless souls who are still in the tension of April 23rd, still ignoring the nudges, still questioning their discernment. When you release a super thanks, when you join as a member, or when you sow through the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into a harvest of awakened hearts. The Lord declares, "Give, and it shall be given back to you, pressed down and overflowing," and that promise is alive over every obedient seed. I am inviting you into this divine partnership. Let your support become your prophetic response to the protection you receive. What you release today becomes light in someone else's darkness tomorrow. Those who finance the spreading of truth will never lack direction in their own journey. This is your moment to act. Strengthen this mission. Activate your seed. Stand with this movement and watch how heaven multiplies your obedience. The warning has ended. The awakening is complete. The expansion begins now.